Hello, legends and super legends. Welcome to Veloharmony Live. You're probably wondering, why is he wearing that helmet? I got a story to tell. Let's see here. I'm trying to make this thing bigger in here. There we go. Now I can see your text. Yeah, Jeffrey Davis out there driving. I'm glad you're tuned in. Tactile Z. You love the show. Welcome. Saulo Dorval. Anthony Tomasello, one of our supporters, Eric Nell from California. We got another guy from California, your neighbor, Tom Pachilski, somewhere in California, also became a supporter of the channel last week. So I just like to do a shout out to him. M. Rio P. 34 from Orlando, Florida. Yeah, my neighbor, man. You're down here with us. Let me take this helmet off. I wore this morning. I did the thumbnail before my ride. A lot of people have requested that I do a day in the life of Veloharmony. So it's not easy to do. You know, my level of quality is different. I want something that's going to be interesting, like a documentary. So I'm doing pieces of like the typical day, because, you know, everybody has days where you got fewer things to do or days where you have a lot to do. So I'm doing the pieces of a typical day to put together on an average day what happens. And so I've done the piece where I wake up my girls, drop them off to school. And then today was a day where I did the piece where I'm squeezing in a ride before an appointment for a bike fit. And that went well. You know, I just finished the bike fit. Then I had to go pick up the girls right after the bike fit, bring them. And then that's why I scheduled a session for 4:15, because the bike fit was 12 till 3. I give them 3 hours. Usually that's how long it takes. And then I pick up my girls between 3:30 and 4. So I did this at 4:15. So my day, I'm never bored. And I love that. So that's what that's about. So I'm putting that together. It will come out when I'm done with all the clips and everything. And I filmed my ride. I went to a place you guys hadn't seen called Cimarron. And I filmed the air. It's very beautiful, very hilly. And I thought, man, this would be cool. I will put the metrics on there as well. So I'm doing something that's going to take a few days of footage, different footages to put together to recreate that typical day, because my days are never the same. I love it. I mean, don't get me. I will not trade this for a corporate job ever again, because I've been there, done that. So this is more dynamic than a corporate job. So I love that. Anyway. That's why I'm wearing this helmet. I got this helmet. I got a copy from Merlin Cycles. It's called the Bell Zephyr helmet. I have done the clips on the review. I will be loading it hopefully sometime tonight or early tomorrow morning, so you guys can get the full review. But I took off the Bell symbol and just put the VH logo on here because I'm not advertising for them. The Zephyr is the lightest helmet I own, but I didn't buy it because of the weight. I bought it because of the ventilation and just the styling. And I don't know if you guys know, Bell and Giro used to be together. The guys were like together and then they broke apart. So their styling is similar. The Giro Synth and all that, as far as being a round helmet, fits really well, easy to get on. So I did a full review of it. I'll be releasing within 24 hours. And I just love the helmet. It's going to be perfect for hot weather or whatever, you know, the summertime, because this thing vents really well. You can see they've got like some kind of exhaust. Look at the back. It's almost like a BMW X6 or something like that. That look, you know, the Zephyr. It's hard to find. I could not find it in black. You know, it's just not available. I guess they stopped making it. They got something called Z20 or something. In the review, I talk about it. So it's a very good helmet. So I was excited to share with you guys. And so I made the review I will be releasing. I just wanted to mention that. I love it. It's like you're wearing a hairnet. Very lightweight. So I'm very impressed with it. All right, let's see what we got here. Michael Fernandez. I guess it's tomorrow where you are, Michael. Yeah, he said good morning. There you go. The land down under. Hey, you guys, what I was going to share with you, Paul Ilonga already knows. Christopher Roxbury, he's here. The Italian jersey on Rafa, the limited edition, when I talked about it the last time, a lot of people bought it. And after the session, when I went to get a copy, it was done out of stock in large. And for some reason, on Sunday, I was looking for something. because I always got returns and different things going on with Rafa. And I came across the same jersey was available. And then as soon as I bought it, it was not available again, but they've shipped it. So because sometimes you'll get stuff from Rafa. Some of you guys have had that problem. I remember Cycle Warrior said, you'll buy stuff, they'll take the money, and then they'll say, oh, sorry, we don't have the quantities that the system said was there at the time you purchased, and they refund your money. So I was hoping they didn't do that. So I was able to get a copy in the Italian colors, which is that teal that I love. So I'm excited. So I will be reviewing the flyweight when it comes in. You know, and then there's another jersey from a place called Patagonia. I'd never heard of this place, but it's got beautiful mountains and just the color caught my eyes. I got that one too. We'll see. You know, I'll try it. If it doesn't work out, I can always send it back. But I just want to share that. It was nice to get that copy because I wanted that teal. I don't have a teal colored jersey. Anyway, today here is about 16 C. It's a nice mild day. It's been raining. So I just left the mud guards on the Colnago from the weekend and I took it out again. And Christopher Roxbury had mentioned during the premiere that the Kish, you know, failed to show or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. But I don't put the mud guards on the Kish because the straps for the front mud guards are too short. The Kish has NV forks on it and they're fat. Whereas the two steel bikes, they're narrow. So that's why. So I never set it up to be able to use the mud guards on the Kish because actually the Kish would be perfect for the ring because it's titanium. You know, it doesn't rust or anything. Not that these other bikes will. But somebody had mentioned on the commentary on the channel, some guy had asked whether I was ever concerned about drying off the bikes when I ride in the rain. And I was kind of puzzled. It's just a metal tube that's painted. It's kind of like a car, you know. I just wipe it down with a rag. If it's very dirty, I'll use like the mud room, or you can use a bucket with like car washing mild soap, and I just wipe them down. I don't wash them all the time. I just wipe the tube to get the dirt off of it. That's it. And I take off the mud guards and wash them because there's a lot of dirt. The stuff that usually messes all the cyclists up stay in the mud guard. So when I get home, I take it off and hose it because it falls out. Sand and leaves and other things are in there. But those mud guards are a lifesaver. So I love that I found them. Anyway, but that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Let's see. Noah Sanchez, hello from Sacramento, California. And Chris Barron from Yorkshire, England, home of the 2019 UCL World Championship. Can't wait. I will be watching. I will be watching because last year's World Championship was sweet. Alejandro Valverde, one of my dark horse riders. I love the guy. Just class. Yeah, he deserves it. He's been on the podium so many times. But finally, he got that first position. So I was happy for him. He was very happy when he won it. You could see the joy on his face. And I enjoyed seeing that. MREOP, I definitely need a bike fit from you, hands down. If you're local, that's easy. If you're not, do our remote fit. I've got another guy coming on Friday. The guy that came today was a triathlete that I fitted today, and I filmed him a little bit. He's going to be part of the documentary I'm doing, like a day in the life of. And he for some reason, he lived like maybe 7 minutes by car. He lives on the bike route that we use to ride to go to Team RR. I was not aware. And I always ask people how you found me when they show up. And he said that he found me because I was closest to him. So he found me on Google. The website that's built, people have been soliciting SEO, optimization, all that stuff. And of course, I just flag it as junk, all those emails I get, because I don't advertise that I have those skills. My IT skills that I used to leverage in corporate America, which I've moved away from, I still use to build this channel, the website. And because I was doing bike fits, but it wasn't moving as quickly. Once I started doing the channel, now I'm busier. So now I no longer have to travel away from home. So this has changed my life. And then with the help of guys like Christopher Roxbury, Robert Tengler, Eric Nell, that funding from Patreon, I've been able to turn down IT work and focus on the channel, the bike fitting, the filming on the weekends. So it's getting to where I'm truly doing what I love. And not everybody gets to do that. That's why I'm very appreciative of my super legends. So I wanted to share that with you guys just to know that I do this from the home studio to keep the fit costs down, because other people are charging like $5 something. It's getting out of hand. You don't need to charge quite that much, but I understand they have rent and the place that they rented for their studio that they have to go to. So it's really good. I always ask people how you found me so they can know. But he was very pleased. When he left here, there were so many things off with his fit. We got him dialed in. He was on a triathlon bike, and he believed that his saddle height needed to be different. So he came with a saddle, as usual, tilted down. Well, it was 4 centimeters too high. That's why he tilted it down, because it was uncomfortable. So, of course, I lowered him, and I moved his saddle back, and he wanted to know why. Because I watched him move forward as he was pedaling. I make people pedal on the load. By load, what I mean, high cadence. Those of you who have power meters like Christopher Roxbury, you know what I mean. If you drop your cadence, if you increase your cadence, your power meter jumps. That's when you generate power. When you have a steady cadence, you are maintaining the power that you have. So I have people drop it and spin up. When you're uncomfortable and you spin up, it shows. And so he moved forward. And so I moved his saddle back. He's like, why are you moving the saddle back when I was moving forward? I said, yeah, because you're sitting where you should be, but the saddle is not in its happy place, meaning even though you're sitting here, when the load increased, when you generated power, your body said, I don't like where I'm sitting on this saddle. I want to be here. So the body said it wanted to be on a spot in front of you. It didn't mean that you were sitting in the wrong place. What it meant is the saddle's sweet spot was not under you. And he got it. He's like, wow, I would have never thought that. I said, well, the guys on the channel already know that, because he wasn't familiar with the channel. And that really gets my juices flowing when the light bulb goes off in someone's eyes. And then at the end of the session, he turned to me and said, thank you so much for all the tips. And I said, what do you mean? He said, I've had a lot of fits done. He said, they don't say anything to me. They just fit me and kick me out the door. I said, well, that's wrong, because you own the fit. I want them to know. And then it turns out he's going to be buying a new pair of shoes as we're walking out the door. He never mentioned it. Then I told him, well, make sure he rides Shimano shoes. I said, make sure you stick with Shimano, Giro, or Lake. I said, their stack heights are the same. He said, I never even considered. I said, you can't just buy any kind of shoe plus. You got to make sure it suits your feet. He said, I was planning on staying with Shimano. He has triathlon shoes that have one strap, easy to get in and out for the event. And so those are the things that he didn't know. So there's a lot of people out there, strong ride. He's a strong rider. They just don't know the little nitty gritty. So I'm really thrilled that I'm able to do this channel, guys. Really. So I'm kind of rambling. Let me get back to you here. Michael said, last day of summer here. Yeah, you guys, your summer is weird over there. January is hot. You got like monsoon, 40-something Celsius. I remember reading about you guys. And then a lot of wind. So yeah, it's really crazy. The world is odd in that way. Hey, I read about Tasmania. Tasmania sounds like a cool place, like an island. It got 500,000 people. I mean, it's not crowded. So that was good to hear about. Hey, Dan, Robert Tangler, welcome from Tomball, Texas. Yeah, it was raining this morning, but just light rain. And so by the time I rolled out, the rain stopped. Just a beautiful day. Even the squirrels were out. When the squirrels are out, they know something. And so there was no more rain. It was okay. The rain, I don't mind it too much. So I filmed a part of my ride in Tiburon with just my phone. And I think it'll be okay. And I'll put the metrics on there for part of that documentary. Those of you who just got here. A day in the life of Veloharmony. I'm putting it together. It's going to take a bit of time. But, let's see here. Jeffrey said he almost bought one. I think he's talking about the helmet. I love that the Zephyr is very light. Looks good on my head. It's round. I have a round head, so the round helmets are my preference. And then the strap lays on your face. You don't have to worry about it. My Mixino from the cat, what do they call it? I think it's a Cat Eye Mixino or something. Whatever that brand is. Is it Cat Eye? Maybe I'm mixing it up with something. Anyways, it looks like a beehive. The straps are the weakness on that helmet. They tangle up very easily. But, if you pay attention, it's okay. This one, you don't have to think about it. Just fits. Very few helmets out of the box. Just, you get it. Nowadays, I think it's getting more common because of this adjustment thing. So all I did was move it down. But I will release the video for it. They have a new model out that you can find easier that's slightly heavier than that one. I'm not sure why they went heavier, but I'm sure there was a good reason. But I didn't buy it because of the weight. It's just the ventilation. I love the ventilation. Of course, the look. You got to look good. Look at the back. Looks like a BMW X6. Look at that bad boy. Or like some of the Audis. I think it's more like an X6. I've never seen a helmet look like that. And when you put the thing on, you feel the air. I had to wear a cycling cap, even though it's 16C, that's like 61 degrees Fahrenheit. I wore a cycling cap because this thing is that cool. And usually I run hot, so I was very surprised. I wore the Pro Team cycling cap, and it's synthetic, you know. But I don't know if it matters, but I think I needed to cover my head, even at 61 Fahrenheit. Usually I don't. So that's a clue. I wore it over the weekend also. I really love the helmet. I wish that it was available in black, but I'm going to live with that blue. It goes with a lot of stuff I have. Let's see here. Elite Haddington in Trinidad and Tobago is early evening, first time joining. Well, welcome. Trinidad and Tobago. I've heard that. I think they're islands or something. Dan, what do you think is the effect of the body of tackling the same HC climb, that's the category climb, each day? And he wants to know, are you going to be better at climbing overall with the necessary recovery time? It doesn't. The body does not really care that you're tackling a climb or a flat road. What the body cares about, Dan, is that you have a certain effort for each day. Let's say, for example, you cannot ride hard all the time. Even the pros, if you look at the Tour de France, they start with the prologue. Those guys, they warm up. They spend more time warming up than probably for the prologue because it's short. But they warm up. They get their body ready to go hard. Then they go hard that day. But remember now, that's just a portion of the day. The whole day they've been relaxing. They do that hard effort. Then they rest. Think about it this way. Quintana, Chris Froome, the contender, they call them GC, the GC guys. If you notice, the first few stages that are flat, you don't see the GC guys. You may see them sitting with their teams at the front just to avoid surprise crashes, but they're sitting in. They will sit in for a day or so. So that's their rest. So for you, if you're going to do the same HC climb, you can do it, but one day, put it in your smallest ratio to take it easy and get to know that climb. What the French says, I think it's the French or the Italian. Don't ride the climb in anger all the time. What they mean is not an emotional thing. What they mean is don't ride at full gas all the time. Get to know the climb. It's okay to ride a climb one day, put it in your easy gear, and just get to know the gradients and how the climb changes. And then another day, you can go full gas because now you know the climb. So yes, you can ride the same climb, but make sure you mix up the intensity because just like you suspected, the body can only go hard so much. Because even if you try it, if the body is tired, you will have to slow down. It won't hurt you, but you will have to slow down. You just can't. If there's nothing in the tank, it just can't do that. That's the key. You've watched the tour where you see some of these guys in 4th or 5th place. 2 weeks, they're doing great. And then week 3, all of a sudden, some of them end up quitting the tour because they have not matured physically to handle 3 weeks of that kind of work. That's why you see most of the tour riders, very few tour riders that have been able to win the tour in the early 20s. Most of the tour riders were in the mid-20s or so, 24 to 27 before they started winning. You know, they got used to that over the years. They continue to ride those kind of races. So yes, you can't hurt your body because your body will make you slow down. But what you want to do, if you want to get stronger and you live near these climbs, don't avoid them necessarily. Just take certain days and ride them easier than other days. It will still help you improve because you don't need to be in your high zones to improve. You can improve your endurance zone one day, and then you can have a day where you tap into your higher zones. I don't go hard very often, but when it's time to go hard, I actually enjoy it because I look forward to it because it's kind of like seasoning. I don't use it too much all the time. It's not a whole lot of fun going full gas, so I save that for very special occasions. You know, and you don't need to train at full gas to be able to go full gas. What you need to do is train near or slightly above threshold. Above threshold is not necessarily full gas per se. You bump up your threshold. You can bump up your threshold by being in zone 2 because by making your zone 2 bigger, you bump up your threshold. You see the rides when we're riding, I'm sitting in the pack zone 1, zone 2. And these guys are working hard, especially on Sunday. I showed it. You saw those guys behind me when I froze the frame, those of you who saw it. And that's the reason everybody's different. It's the same reason why, even in the Tour de France, all the professionals that come to a base of a climb, all of a sudden you see Froome, Quintana, and all these guys just riding away. Several reasons. There's certain riders that are not built for that kind of climbing. They're heavier and whatever, so they cannot keep up with these mountain goats, as we call them. You know, and by the way, I saw a picture of Chris Froome today on Twitter, because I follow one of the UCI thing. That guy looks so thin. So he's been riding. So he seems to be very motivated about this season. He has, I mean, he's almost too thin. He looks so small. He was standing next to another guy, and I've never seen him that small. So he's been preparing. So look out for good things from him this year. He looks to be very motivated. So yeah, no, keep riding it. Just mix it up. Look, pay attention to how you feel. Your body can't lie. Your body will tell you. There are days when I plan to go hard and I get out there and I feel like crap. I change the intensity, drop the gears, and enjoy being on the bike. Do the same thing. Ride and get to know those climbs. Look at the climbs. When you're going slower, you'll get to see, like, if they have goats living on those climbs that you ride, get to see the guys, the animals that live there one day. And then the day when you're going hard, you really can't see a whole lot. Then you go hard. And it's easier to go hard on a climb that you know than a climb that is new to you. A lot of the pros do what they call reconnaissance. They go in and check out these climbs. They may not do the whole thing, but you know, like a stage, you'll pick a climb and drive in a car and go check it out just to get familiar with the undulations of it. That's what you use that for. Yeah, so your gearing would just be the same thing on the flat. You know, even if it's a flat road, you're not going to be going full gas. The tempo is different, of course, but it's still not good. So yeah, it won't hurt you. If you want to recover, then and all you have are climbs, ride your smallest ratios. And of course, if you're living in that area, chances are you probably got at least a 28 in the back and maybe a 34 in the front. I have a 36 because the things around here, I don't need anything smaller than that. All right, let's see here. Emir says, thanks for having me here, Super Legend. Thanks for the inspiration. You're welcome, man. What about waxing your bike? Yeah, I don't use a wax per se. I guess it is a wax. I use the Pledge furniture polish. It's just quick and it works. Think about it. That's what people use on wood tables and stuff like that. It has wax in it. So I have a can of Pledge. After I wash my bikes, I wax it. I don't wax the bike when I just do a wipe down. I wax my bike after a wash. And what I do is, now that it's winter, somebody was making a comment on the channel, said that it must be monsoon season down there because you've been showing a lot of wet rides. We get rain in the winter here. That's when we get our rain. In the summer, it's like a desert. We pray for rain. So I welcome the rain. And so after our rainy season per se, winter, once spring comes in, I give the bikes that I use in the rain a lot, I give them a thorough wash. It takes about 30 minutes or so. Thorough wash, and then I wax it, and then that's it. Rest of the time, I just clean the tubes. Too busy to be washing all the time. It's not necessary. And after the wash, then I take apart my bottom bracket, and I clean and re-lube my bearings. The bearings I have, they're Campagnolo Ultra Torque. And so they sit on the crank arms. They're external. And you just put the crank arm in and they're there. So they have a seal, but still the grease gets, it gets black. But when you start out, it's not black. And so I basically, after the rains, the winter, it's once a year you're supposed to do that. Just like a good overhaul of your bike. So all I do is remove the crank arm, wipe the bearing, clean all the dirty grease out of there. If I need to, I can spray a solvent on it and then re-lube it and put it back together. That's it. That is easy for me to remember to do it in the spring after the rains than to try to say do it every December. It just made more sense to go ahead and ride in the rain all winter when we get them. And then spring, I do almost like a spring cleaning of the bike where I take the bottom bracket, clean it, and then it's ready for the whole season. And I do that for all three bikes, not just the ones I use in the rain. The Kish, as I mentioned earlier, I don't use it in the rain because Christopher Roxbury had mentioned something about it because the fork is too thick. But even if I did, I would do it the same way. And that's all you need to do. The rain will not hurt your bike because you're sitting on the bike. The rain doesn't hit the bike that much. It's hitting you. It's the crap from the road, from your tires that mess up, that get on your drivetrain. And that's why we got the mud guards, your drivetrain and your feet and your butt, you know. So yeah, with the mud guards, man, it's riding in the rain. It's really sweet. I love it. And plus I can keep my schedule. I can stay consistent. All right, here we go. Somebody says, JR at Veloharmony, do you shave your head to be more aero? No, I've always shaved my head since I was a teenager. And then when I was in my late 20s, I started balding right up here. And I always used to shave my head to where you brush the hair. The reason being is our hair is naturally curly, and it's a pain in the butt to comb when it's not wet. And my mom always used to make sure, if you know, when I would grow my hair out, like in my teen years, you could not leave the house with your hair not combed. And it was a hassle for me. So I just started cutting it low to where I could just do this and go. And then with the shape of my head, it always looked good with my hair cut low. All my friends and people would say that. And so as I got in my late 20s and this started to bald right here, right in the middle here, I just shaved it off. You know, it's not for aerodynamics. I wear a helmet. You know? So, you know, I don't know. I don't know if it's more aero like that. I guess it might be. I don't know if the head is more aero than the helmet. I believe the helmet is more aero. I think they've tested that. But no, it's not for that. It's just something I've always done pretty much from the time I was about 16 or 17. I always shaved my head because I was lazy. I hated when you're combing your hair and it's curly. It hurts if you don't wet it. And I just hated it. You know, so I never used to like combing it. Then my mom used to make me comb it. And so it was like, I didn't want to go wet my head just to leave. And so I just started cutting it. So that's why, yeah. And it suits the shape of my head. It just always worked. So yeah. Now, Robert Tangler says, any shoe covers that would fit my midsole cleat position? Oh man, that's a good question. Because most of them make it to where it's for the standard 3-hole thing. I don't know right off, Robert. I'm gonna go ahead and make a note here. I got the pad here for this session. I'm gonna make a note on my pad here. That's a good question. I don't know right off. Let's see, midsole shoe covers. See if there are any out there. There's any out there that I can recommend. That's a good question. All right. So Christopher Roxbury said, do you wear that helmet when you drive your BMW around? No. I would probably be a laughing stock. Yeah, I don't know. It does look like an X6. I don't own an X6 though. I own an older BMW. I own the BMW M3. That's 1999. And then I own a 1998 BMW 540 i6. Now they're clean copies. You guys know how I am. They're clean. I don't baby them. I drive them. But they've been maintained. They look showroom quality. Robert saw the M3. I think he saw both. Robert was here, and he saw both. Yeah, they're clean copies. When people see them, people who are in the know, the M3 is the E36 frame designation, and the 540i is the E39. And I customized the bumper to make it look closer to an M5. And then, of course, the engine and everything was tuned. So I still love driving them, and they work fine. So yeah. I don't have no car payments, so I just drive them from time. I ride my bike more than the cars. You know, I use the car to drop off my daughters, and sometimes when I go in the city, and most of the time they're on the trickle charger because I use one is in the second garage by itself, and the M3 stays in here because the girls like it because it's like a go-kart. So I toss them around on the way to school. Take the corners, you know, just kind of swing the car like when nobody's on the road. And they like that. And they said, do it again. And we mess around with it because the M3 is just so light, you know, good handling car. But no, I don't wear that. I just like the styling, man. It's a cool helmet. And this blue has grown on me. It's ultramarine, they call it. It's kind of unusual. But it was inexpensive, like $130 for that helmet. Usually they wanted $300 when it came out. I found it at Merlin Cycles. I grabbed it. All right, let's see here. Elite Haddington, Trinidad and Tobago are a twin island state in the Caribbean, situated in the Lesser Antilles, just about South America. Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Angelo 16D. Tom Dumoulin looks thin also this year. Yeah, these guys, I don't know, man. I don't know how, but I think it's just the kilometers because I lost about almost 8 pounds when we did that December monster thing. These guys are riding just crazy kilometers. Remember, Chris Froome loaded something called Empty the Tank on Strava. I think it was sometime last year. I mean, he just did some monster day. Yeah, they look like pencils, man. These guys, if they turn sideways, you probably won't see them. I guess that's what it takes to go up those mountain passes quickly, you know. But no, I don't ever want to be that thin, you know. That is just, yeah, these boys. I mean, they don't look unhealthy, but I've never seen Chris Froome look that small. So he's motivated for something this year. And I have a feeling he wants number 5 of the Tour de France. Azir Khalid, how you doing? Leslie Kirk, hi there from England. Welcome, Leslie. Let's see. Angelo 16D, you've been watching that tour in the Middle East is going on, was Old Tour of Dubai. Yeah, the UAB. Yeah, I watched a little something on YouTube. Somebody did like the first stage, looked like a TT. I watched a little bit of that. I don't have a whole lot of time to keep up with some of that stuff, but I do try to flag some of the stages. I'm following the UCI on Twitter, so I get the UCI stuff. And I saw some of the stuff. I think it was Greipel or Kittel. I think it was Andre Greipel that talked about it was exciting to be in the Emirates because they're there doing that race. Yeah, I try to keep up. Rodolfo Ramirez, how you doing? Anthony Tomasello, you're welcome, Dan. Anthony Tomasello, I'm looking at booking a fit with you, but I can't do it until early April. Will you book that far in advance? We have the capability, and that's fine. I have it. The lead time right now is like a month. That seems to be working. I can extend it. I can extend the software. It's just a software. It's a booking software. If you want to do that, yes, I can do that for you. You're one of our super legends. Let's see here. That's where my IT stuff kicks in. I have people that manage the site, but I've been gradually taking away some of the responsibilities from them because they have not been keeping up. Those of you who are in the know, I will explain it this way. It's a WordPress site. And basically, you get it for free. And then because they know you're going to buy what they call plugins. Plugins are like apps. So, for example, what Anthony is talking about is an app called Booking WP or something like that. You pay for that. I don't mind it because it's like you pay every year. And the reason you want to pay every year is WordPress updates the base software of the website. So if that base software changes, some of your apps don't work. They call them plugins. So in order to make sure they're working, you need to keep paying the annual fee. It's not that much. It might be like $50 a year or something like that. But you pick software that you need. I like the booking because I don't want to handle calls. Like he's saying he wants to book in April. I don't want people calling me that I got to take down appointments. They can just do it themselves. Plus, if it's 2 in the morning, they can see what's available themselves. So it just made sense. And the cool thing was you paid $80 for a year, the first year, all repayments, like what they call it, recurring subscription payments are 50% off. So for $40 a year, I have software that will handle the administrative stuff for Fit, which I want to be bogged down with. And it's perfect. It benefits me and it benefits the people who want to book. Now, Anthony, I don't know. I know you're in Canada. Are you going to do a local or a remote? Because with the remote, you don't need the book. With the remote, you just purchase the remote software and the program for the remote is different. So I need you to make sure because I think you're in Canada, if I remember correctly. I may not be. But anyway, what I was explaining is that the guys that were handling the website, that are handling my hosting company, I try to give them responsibilities, do this, do that. I know how to do it, but I don't want to be bogged down with it. So there are certain things that we're doing that weren't doing it very well, and I'm paying them. And I'm like, if I'm going to pay you and I have to be involved, then I might as well not pay you and do it myself. So some things I've taken away that they were not really keeping up with. Because you can make a deal with somebody over the phone. That's not the person that's going to do the work. They're going to sub it out. And if they don't manage that person, you don't get what you're paying for. So that's the thing. So the nice thing about it is that these apps do different things that can make your life easier. But you must keep up with it. So what they were doing is they would update, because the plugins are updated like every week. It's kind of like your iPhone. Every so often they got a 12 dot this. They're making all these little bug fixes. I hate that. I don't have time to keep up all that. So these guys were updating plugins and not going to check to see if the update didn't break anything, because it does happen. And they were costing me business, because when they would update something and not check, then people would say, hey, I'm not able to book. I'm not able to do that. I took away their ability to update. I said, since you're not going to manage it, I don't need to pay you to mess up stuff that's working. So I'm going to decide when things are updated, because I'm going to check each update before and after. You know, that's what that is. This management, they take your money and they don't manage their people that are working under them, but they want you to pay them every month. So it's just not just them. It seems to be everywhere, service industry. So that's the way. So just confirm, Anthony. Okay. Yeah, if you're going to do remote, don't worry about your own measurements. I have videos that go deeper than what's on the channel, because I've learned from the challenges like Noel Pagan, and I've done enough other people. As I ran into challenges with other people that weren't measuring stuff well, I made videos that get you there. And I have a process to where if we need to, we'll do live sessions. So you don't need to book. You need to go to the website and just click on Remote Fit and sign up for that. And we'll go ahead and get started. If you want to start in April, meaning you need like, it takes 45 minutes to do, but I give people 15 days to work with me. So if you're very busy and you won't have time to mess with the bike now, then yes, wait until April and then sign up for it. Because I like when people sign up, I want us to get it done, and so you can go ride and give me feedback. But no, it's a science. We get you there. I don't depend on your measurements. I confirm and I show you how to do it. I give you homework. What we can do is, let's see, you're one of our supporters. Go to the website and send me an email. So you wanted to save more money. Can you do cleats and everything? Yeah, we can line up your cleats. I'll show you how to do it. I have some videos that I reference, and we'll do. The biggest thing really start with the saddle. Once the saddle's done, the rest of the stuff is fairly easy. So yeah, whenever you're ready, just book. The system will let me know. So I was just reading your follow-up text. Oh, you're in Austin. Okay. Austin, we don't want to do remote. Come on down, because I can do that. It's so much more precise. If you're in Austin, in fact, I'm going to be in Austin May, the end of May. I have to go there for some business just for one day, because I used to live in Austin. I used to live in Jester Mountain area. So yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's wait till you can drive down here. If you're Austin, you're about an hour 45. Yeah, you're pretty close. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it in person. And you can book up to a month in advance right now, because you have to basically commit funds when you book. The software basically blocks out the time in that way. But you can do a month. If you need more lead time, let me know. I can release more lead time. But yeah, let's do it that way. You need to come in. You're in my hemisphere. Cool. Let me roll back up here. Let's see. I got Dan already, and then we talked about Anthony. Yeah, okay. Jeffrey Davis, tip. I use rejects of paint sealer on my glasses. Rain and mist won't stick. A paint sealer? Rejects. I got to look that up. You know how I am, guys. These glasses are not cheap. So I don't know, Jeffrey. I don't know. But you know what? You have to have an open mind. I got to look that up, because I don't want to ruin my glasses. These suckers are expensive. I don't know what it is with these. They're just sunglasses. They cost as much as prescription stuff. So, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I put them on the back of my thing until the rain stops. And actually, in the rain, I'd much rather not have glasses on anyway, unless you're following people that's spraying you. And I hate to follow people in the rain, because besides your eyes, it gets all on your face. Yeah, it's just, if they don't have anything to protect the spray. Yeah, I'll look that up. Rejects. Interesting name. Rejects. A paint sealer. Where'd you get the idea to put a paint sealer? That's incredible. Yeah, you learn something new every day. You made it to 37 before I went under the blade. Okay. You're talking to somebody there. Okay. No, I don't. Angela is asking what I have the new cask helmet. No, I don't. I have owned the cask Mojito. I have owned the cask Proton. And they were okay. I ended up getting tired of them and I sold them on eBay. Since I discovered eBay, guys, you can use stuff. If you take good care of it, you list it as used. You take pictures of it on your phone and you list it and people will buy it. People bid on it and they buy it. So I've been able to get some of my money back after using stuff. So yeah, I sold the Mojito. Not that it was a bad helmet. The color scheme restricted me. The Mojito, I don't know if you guys know, Mojito is like a drink. And it's almost like the color, it was colorful. It was like green, yellowish looking. It just didn't go with a lot of stuff I owned. And I was like, man, so I sold it for that reason. The Proton, I got a white Proton. It was okay. I guess I just found it a little boring and then I sold it. I've seen some of the Proton that I think a guy named Paul Smith, some designer, made a special paint job of it, real pretty. They're good helmets. So I don't own any cask currently, but I've owned them. I've owned the puck. I did not like the standard puck. It just, the aesthetics just didn't work for me. They're very safe. They cover your head really well. They just kind of looked a little spacey, you know, almost like E.T. looking. And it just didn't suit my style per se. So I bought it. I sold it. I also owned the puck Arrow helmet. I had the one hole here. Same thing. Ended up looking like you're wearing some dome from the space, from those sci-fi movies. So I wore it for a while, sold it on eBay. And I got most of my money back because they were relatively new. And I did that just to try. I didn't review it or anything. This was probably before I started the channel, around, you know, maybe early. So I like to try different things. I have an open mind, but you have, you know, within reason. You can't tie too much funds in there. So Cask makes really good helmets. It's just a matter of finding the color that will work for me. I think maybe the darker color would probably go with more kit. Yeah. Let's see here. Both BMWs and your daughter's Mini Cooper. Oh, yeah, you saw them. Okay, yeah. Yeah. She loves the Mini. She came by. Oh, yeah, the funny thing, we have a 19-year-old. We kept her close to home. She's in college. And she's sickly. Sickly in terms of she has a lot of allergies and different things that doctors have not been able to figure out. She saw every conceivable doctor out there, you know, certain times of the year, stuffy head, headaches, whatever. All they did was build an insurance company. There were so many claims on our policy that people were threatening to close our, cancel our policy because the doctors kept sending bills, but not solving the problem. You know what I mean? I don't think they should be paid if they can't solve the problem. All they were doing are these tests and this and that. I'm like, come on. I wanted to even take her to a vet because the vet seemed to be able to figure out what's going on with the animals, and the animals don't even have to tell them what's wrong. If my wife was here, she'd throw something at me because she's a nurse. And I told her I don't trust the doctors. So she's biased. Yeah, they ran up just an exorbitant on different, the tests are expensive. Testing for this, that, and the other. The girl was tired of dealing with doctors, you know. And so she's very sensitive when the pollen's coming out and all that kind of stuff. So we put her in HBU. It's 1 hour by car in the city from where we are. And so she gets the Mini Cooper, you know, that Robert's talking about. We got her a Mini Cooper with 14,000 miles, practically new, a 2015. So it's, let's say, a 4-year-old car. And because it was used, you know, it was marked down so much because they come like they're in the 30s. And we got like 14 grand. I was like, let's take that. We got it from some place called Auto Nation. I've never dealt with them before, but what got me attracted to it was they gave you like 6-month warranty. They stand behind, you know, we've done all this 50-point check, all that stuff. All that mattered to me as a car guy was it's only got 14,000 miles. And when I opened the door, the car smelled new. Whoever had it really didn't do much with it. The car smelled new. She doesn't drive a standard very well, so it's an automatic. It was perfect navigation. Simple Mini, not Mini S, because I love Minis myself. I want to get me one in the future. Mini Cooper standard. I don't want to give her too much power. She's a new rookie driver. And so I popped the hood, looked at everything. I mean, everything just, you know. So I don't care that they're offering warranty. The manufacturer warranty was still on the car because it hadn't been used much mileage-wise. And so I told my wife, I said, this is the car we want to get because it does not really matter what AutoNation is offering. This car is still in good condition. If the, you know, I mean, BMW owns Mini now, but any other manufacturer, any car, unless it's a lemon that has 14,000 miles on it, you've got a lot of life before you start having problems with major repairs like, you know, gaskets and other things that just age. And that's the logic I use as a car guy. And I don't work on cars. I know how they work. I used to work on them in college. It wasn't a whole lot of fun. You know, that's when I was broke. And so I paid to get them worked on now. And so I told my wife, let's get this one because it's going to be a lot of years before we have to do any major maintenance. And it turns out that Alan, who rides with us, he works on BMW, and he also can do certain service. He can't do engine work on the Mini. He doesn't have all the tools, but he can work on the Mini. So I was like, great. He can keep the car running because he keeps my cars running. And the main reason is that by buying it used, we got rid of all that depreciation hit that you take when you get a new car because they just jack the prices. I think they just make up the prices, you know. But she starts driving to the house now. We got out of the car so she, you know, she has a job near the school with a church, so she can go, you know. And then we used to have to go pick her up from school and bring her back home. So my wife doesn't have to do that. That's the reason. Now all of a sudden she's coming home twice during the week. This week she showed up on Tuesday. That was yesterday. Then on Thursday last week, she showed up. And so when she came on Tuesday, I was just coming back yesterday from a ride. And I was at an intersection and she sees me in the neighborhood and she waves. And so she put the window down and said, where are you headed? Oh yeah, I just came to the house to drop off this and I'm going to the library. This is an hour from school, the library near here where she likes to go study. So I told her, I said, do you understand that at some point, your gas bill is going to spike? And it was as if to say she never even considered that because all of a sudden she just almost like froze. I told her, I said, you can't be driving home every day. Then what's the point of us paying all this money to keep you on the dorm? So that never even entered her mind. We're paying for you to be on the dorm. You're coming home every day. Then you can just stay at home. But it wouldn't be practical to drive 2 hours a day to go back and forth to school, especially in this city in the morning. It's just too congested for that. That's the reason we put her on the dorm. And she's coming back, this and that. So after that conversation, my wife gets home last night, and the first thing she says to me, I got a text from Celia, and she says that her gas is low. And I just started to laugh. I said, yeah, she's pulling it. I said, let her buy the gas because she has a little job. I said, let her fill it back up because she's driving here too frequently. That's not the reason we got the car, you know. And it's kind of like because it has to hit home. All that driving, you know, the expense goes up, then the wear and tear. And I had to talk with her before we got her the car. But now she's got a car, and all of a sudden she wants to be driving around. So I just told her, I said, you need to come home like you used to every weekend. Stay there all week, come home on the weekend if you want to. And the funny thing, before she got the car, we would see her maybe once a month. Now she has the car, now she wants to be coming home because it's convenient. Like I told my wife, don't buy her no gas. Let her buy the gas. You'll see. It will change. That's the way they learn. I don't know how I got on that, but yeah, I think because of Robert's comment. But it's fun to watch them. She's at 19 now. From 13 to 19, she thought she knew more than we did. At about 19 now, the light bulb went off. That this guy's not crazy. All the stuff he's been saying, she's beginning to see it now. All of them like that when they get to be a teenager early, they think you're nuts and you don't know anything to know it all. She's gotten through that. Some of them stay in that stage longer. Maybe boys. I think boys stay there longer, but she's out of it now. She gets it that I do know what I'm talking about. I'm not just talking, you know. She understands why I'm not driving around every day. It adds up. So anyway, but it's nice to see them grow up. So Leslie said, what do you do for a living? Yeah, I went over it a little bit, Leslie. I'm a cyclist that used to do software engineering to pay the bills. I wouldn't say used to do. I guess I still do. I do software engineering. Like they call it IT consulting. The challenge with that, the money was great. I was making, you know, lots of money, but I couldn't spend it. I was gone all the time. So, you know, I couldn't, I'd leave on Sunday and come back on Thursday, and my kids look like they've aged, if you know what I mean. And then I'm spending, and even though I'm traveling only twice with the airlines, I spend those travel days a lot of time with delays. You're sitting at the airport, just waiting. For whatever reason, there was always something going on. And for some reason, just waiting wears you out. I get to the hotel tired, like I've been working out. And it affected my health. You know, it just got to I was making a lot of money, but I was unhealthy because I was gone all the time. And, you know, you can't get a regular routine. I stayed in hotels that had gyms and stuff, so I would swim and do other stuff to mix it up. But it just wasn't the same. And I hated being gone. So, yeah, I have software engineer. I worked with the Oracle Financial Applications. They call it Oracle Financials and Manufacturing. And I could do all of it because my background is in cost accounting. I have a finance degree. I minored in computer science. And I got my master's in human physiology. Yeah, people always ask, why did you go there? Because of my whole life, I always worked out. Soccer. I've just always played sports. And I always wanted to master human physiology. That's how come I know how to train. And so the IT work brought a lot of money, but you're gone. You're on different work sites. You know, you're traveling. People paid all your expenses and stuff, but I got tired of it. I wanted to see my daughters grow. So what I did was I started contracting as opposed to being an employee of a company. And so with contracting, you could pick which projects you worked on. So I traveled like Orange County. We used to fly through John Wayne Airport. Those of you who are in California, you know how that is. So I've spent a lot of time in California. There's a lot of work there. And then Chicago, there's a lot of work in Chicago. So both coasts. But being in Texas, it was okay. You could get there in one hop, you know. So I did that for enough years to where I just got tired of traveling. And so I kind of phased it down. And then once I started phasing it down, I started doing more bike fits before I started the channel locally as people started getting to know. But once I started the channel 2 years ago, the channel created a brand. And that's what this is, the Veloharmony brand. And so now people started noticing more that, okay, there's a different kind of fit going on here, almost like a unique style. They like the style where I give them detail. I take my time. I don't pack appointments. I like to give everybody enough time so they understand that. So right now what I do is a little bit of IT consulting, coaching. I do bike fit, all of that. And then I try to squeeze in a ride every day. So what I'm recording right now to release in the future for the channel will really show that my life centers around getting up in the morning, making sure my wife's breakfast is ready, because she takes food to work. Because my wife is a nurse and they work like 12-hour days. So she'll work like 4 days and then she'll take off 3 days. But it's hard on the body. There's a guy named Action Jackson, works at the airport, and he has a similar schedule where he work a block of time. It's not, you can't get into a routine. It's really hard on them. So I try to make sure that my wife has something to eat at work and she has something to eat when she comes home. So I'm like Veloharmony guy, IT guy, dad, husband, all of that. So what I do is when I start my day in the morning, I make sure my wife has a lunch to take with her. She gets up like 5:30. So while she's getting ready at 6 o'clock, my alarm goes off. So I get up and then I make sure she has something to take. So she leaves about 6:30 in the morning because they do surgery and stuff. She works at a surgical center. And they usually like to start early because they'll have patients show up and just they kind of have them in the queue. So once she takes off at 7 o'clock, I go ahead and get my girls. I start waking them up. Sometimes they're not between 7 and 7:15. I might give them a little bit of time because their school opens the door at 7:40. And it's 7 minutes from the house. So by about 7:15, I get them up. I make sure that their mouthwash, toothpaste, all of that's ready. They get up. They start getting ready. I go upstairs. They like waffles and pancakes. So we just use the toaster. And I put the home-style waffles in there. It takes a few minutes. While that's doing it, I pack their lunch. They like to take their lunch They have the option of eating at the school, but they only do that on Fridays because they figured out that Fridays, the meals are more interesting. You know, they'll have like orange chicken on Friday, and the rest of the week is kind of weak. So they figured it out. So they only eat in the cafeteria with the cafeteria food in the line on Fridays. We put money on their account, and it's fairly reasonable. We block their ability to buy condiments. That's where you get killed at the schools. Those of you who have kids. Those juices and the chips and all that, they can't buy them. The account is blocked. They can only get the tray, the food, the standard meal. And so what we do is we have juices and chips here at home that they can take with them if they choose to, because it's a lot less expensive than what the school sells it for. So you can get the little apple juice in a little box from Walmart in a whole pack, less than what they charge at that school. And they understand that because I explained that to them. They understand 7 and 9. They understand money because they go shopping with me and I show them. You know, when I pay, they stand right there. So they understand we're buying stuff, don't waste it. So what I do is I pack their lunch. They have their little lunch bag. And the day before, I make sure all their homework's in their bag. And we head out at 7:40 or 7:45. We're in the car. It takes 7 minutes to get to the school. Drop them off. Come home. I'd start to get myself something to eat. By 8:45, 9 o'clock, if I'm going to ride, I head out, unless I have an appointment. If I have a fit, then I move the ride to another part of the day. And usually, if there's no fit, because I give like, I think 12 hours, you can book a fit within 12 hours. Because I don't like to get surprised. I don't want to be on a ride and someone books a fit and I got to rush. So they have 12 hours. But if there's a fit in the morning, I do the fit. And then depending on when the fit at 9, we finish at noon. Then I'll arrive from like noon till maybe 2 o'clock. I don't like to cut it too close. At 3 o'clock, an alarm on my phone goes off. And during this session, it will, because it's set at 3 o'clock. Well, when I used to have it early. At 3 o'clock, it beeps because they release my daughters from the school at 3:27. So I have it go off at 3. So whatever I'm doing, I can wind it down. And then I leave the house at 3:20. I get there at 3:27. The reason is, if I leave the house at 3:15, I'm sitting on the road with all the other parents that are picking up kids. But by leaving at 3:20 something, when I get there, the line's moving because the kids are already out. And that way I'm not sitting on the road blocking traffic. I just get in, get them. So between 3:30 and 3:45, they're back home here. And that's why I started this session at 4:15. So 3:45, they know I'm having a session. They're upstairs. They don't come in the office. And so we have a queue when the door is closed. You know, dad's busy in the office, so they don't come in. But you have to have it organized, and it just becomes a routine and for the most part. But it doesn't go the same every day. So what I do is, on the website, I block out 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Nobody can book a session because that's when I need to pick up the girls. The rest of the time is open because I can ride at any time during the week. If I can't ride all day because I have 2 fits or whatever, because the fits are 3 hours, so 9 to 12, 12 to 3, then I will ride after I get the girls home if I have to, or get on the trainer. That's the way I do it. You know, so I squeeze in my rides around my work. And that's why there's a guy named, the same guy, Action Jackson, sent me an email. I'm going to make a video about it. He's having challenges with things that are interrupting his ability to ride. You know how it is. You plan to ride and somebody comes to visit, or, you know, there's always something. And it's hard to juggle sometimes, you know. And so it's kind of like, I just told him, I said, you know, do the best you can. You can plan, and life happens. You have to decide to weigh what's important, you know. So my core family, my wife, my kids, they're kind of first. And I make sure that even the riding does not interrupt. And that's why you guys hear me on the video where I say I got the morning. When we're out there between 7 and 10, my daughters are sleeping in. They get up around 10, and they might go upstairs, turn on the TV, watch Tom and Jerry. By the time we get back, like on Sunday, I get back, sometimes they're just getting up, because usually I get back 11-ish on Sunday. But Saturday, the family knows I'm riding most of the day. So it's not a problem. I'm back 1:32 sometimes. And they're just kind of easing into the day. Now I'm back, daddy's back, and then whatever mom wants to do, she'll plan it for after 2 o'clock. So because she doesn't want to take the girls all the stuff they're running around. My daughters don't like a lot of shopping where you're going too many stores. They like to focus, go one place, come back. They're kind of like me. I don't like to spend a lot of time in stores. I do a lot of stuff online. And so, yeah, you have to just balance it. I don't know how I got into that. Oh, she talked about what I do for a living. So, yeah, so I do a lot of things for a living. I don't have one source of income. I think I saw a super chat or somebody did something. Yeah, Olirio Pacheco. I've never seen this guy before. And he does a super chat. Cool. I think I've seen his picture on the website in a comment. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. You know. So now look at this here, guys. This is amazing. My daughters have joined the. I don't know. they're really growing. As I'm talking, my daughters just typed. Well, you see where it says Iyoti Ibikoroma? That is an account that I set up because I wanted to control what my daughters see on YouTube. They watch a lot of kids' videos or whatever. They're using that account where you see Iyoti Ibikoroma. They said it is MJ and Constance. They have tuned in to this session while they're upstairs on the iPad, and they've typed in the 7. It's probably the 7 and probably the 9-year-old that they just typed in as MJ and Constance. So they're really ahead of their years. They don't behave like 7 and 9. I guess it has a lot to do with the fact that they're girls. Girls have a tendency to mature quicker than boys. So that's kind of funny to see that on there. I'm going to tell their mother about that. They're sneaking on the project. So yeah, they type, "Hello, Daddy. We're eating." Okay, girls. Enjoy your meal. Yeah, that's Constance. All right, Constance. Enjoy your meal. So they just joined in. They're upstairs. Yeah, Todd Morrell. Let's go back. Let me go back. Okay, so before I jumped on that, Anthony Tomasello, he says he needs to rent a car and save a little more in case of a new stem or something. Anthony, what I want you to do is I got to check to see if it's on the remote fit. I need to put on there because for the local people that are coming, there is a thing where I ask for your reach. I will send me an email, Anthony. Go to the website in the contact us page. Send me an email that will give me your email address. I need to send you a couple of questions so that you can measure your reach and your top tube. So we can, and then also send me your stem length on the bike that you're going to bring. So measure your stem length, measure your top tube on the bike, and measure your reach. And send that to me because then we'll be able to determine what stem will work for you. I will send you an email with specific instructions, but send me an email from the contact page before you come. I'm going to design a form that people will fill out because currently they submit stuff and I think it's too long. I want to shorten it. But those are the 3 measurements I need so we can know ahead of time what length stem you need to get, if any. Okay? We'll get to that. Just send me that email. Angelo said, "Did you ever ride with Lance?" Yes, I did. Chances are he probably doesn't remember me. This was in 1994. After he won the world championship, they had a team, like a training camp. Steve Bauer, all of them came down to Austin. That's when I lived in Austin, and we rode together. Everybody was excited that Motorola was there. We did not get into rotation. You just stayed behind the last guys. But these guys rode for 6 hours plus at 36, 38 kilometers an hour, 22, 23, the whole day, just chatting 2 abreast. We went up to Georgetown area. That's where we rode. And Lance was a hothead back then. And he's probably just his personality. And on that ride, he almost got a ticket because similar to what Paul and I did this weekend, where we got in the turn lane early, it's actually illegal, whether you're riding or driving, to get in that turn lane and drive or ride for a distance. You can be stopped. You're supposed to get in right as you're turning. That's where they have those arrows. And Lance and Steve Bauer were riding in that lane for a good reason. We could not get a gap in the traffic to move over. You know how it is. You're trying to get in. And that's all it was. And this officer, DPS guy, stopped us. But Lance was like trying to prove a point because, you know, here in the U.S., they didn't know he was world champion. And so he kept telling the guy, look, this is what I do for a living. I don't know why you're bothering us. And we tried to get him to realize it doesn't matter. That is what you do for a living. You did break the law. And so the guy delayed us for a little while, but he didn't give a ticket. He just gave a warning, and then we took off. But Lance always been a very brash guy, very aggressive, you know. But, you know, I found him to be very pleasant. I just found him, he's a very competitive guy, period. That's just the way he is. In other words, if he's going to do something, he's going to do it well or not at all. He doesn't do anything halfway. That's the way God made him, like it or not. So, yeah, that's what I know about him. So, yeah, very, very, very good guy, decent guy. Todd Morrell, greetings from New York City. Well, the city that never sleeps. Just a question. Besides weekend rides, I commute to work by bike. About a 15-minute ride. Okay. Anything you can recommend I can work on in a short ride? 15-minute ride. That's like a warm-up. Now, if it's possible, 15-minute ride is like a warm-up. So I think what you need to do is, for your commutes, if you're going to just do the 15 minutes, keep your cadence high. All those intersections in New York City, use triple-digit cadences to get through them. That will build your snap and your power. And maybe take the long way to work sometimes. Get up a little earlier. Instead of 15 minutes, take the long way. Take a scenic route, prettier roads. You don't have to go straight to work all the time. Get up a little early. Get some miles in before or after work. You know, after probably not practical this time of year because the days are short, maybe in the summer. But that's what we used to do. You mix the commute, make a longer ride on the way to work. Especially if you've got like showers and stuff where you can clean up when you get to work. Take a long route to work. Put your training in there. There's a guy named Matt Stevens on GCN. He's no longer with GCN, but that's what he used to do. He won their British championship using his commute for training. And overall, he was doing like maybe 80 kilometers a day, you know, taking a long way to work. So if you take quieter roads, if it's practical, look at the map. You might enjoy it better. Get a piece of the city and the rest country roads. You know, I think that would be cool if you can do that. Jeffrey Davis, I use it on my cars. It cures after several hours. A wax type product, not abrasive. Worldline Rain X just lays longer. Hydrophobic and repels dust too. Pine pollen doesn't stick to my car. Okay. Yeah, Paulie Lunga has challenges with, there's a pair of glasses he has that has prescription lenses inserted in there. And sometimes they get all foggy. And maybe this rejects thing might work. I'll look it up. This rejects, R-E-J-E-X. And Leslie Kirk, I have a BMW 335 diesel X-Drive. What car? Lots of power. But like you, I do more miles on my bike. Yeah. Yeah, my cars are old. My cars, one of my cars older than my teenage daughter. One is 20 years old, which is the 1998. And then the other one is 19, the 1999 M3. The M3 I bought used from Alan, who's the master mechanic we ride with. Somebody traded it in. And, you know, Alan checks everything before he sold it to me. He just always gets cars. He's like, I don't have any room for this car. And he wanted somebody who would take care of the car because he's a car guy. He hates people that abuse cars. And Alan's old school. He likes to repair as opposed to replace. So he didn't want to sell the M3 to anybody he didn't know. And so he didn't know I would be interested in the M3 because I used to own a BMW Z8. You know, I sold that to Alan. I don't know what he did with it, but I got rid of it. It just got too much attention. It was like, you know, yeah, I didn't buy it for that reason, but it was time to let it go. Simplify stuff. But anyway, he sold that to me, and I just love it. I've always wanted an M3, and so it was good to get a good copy because, the E36 is one of they call it a true M3, supposedly. It's before they got real gadgety with all the nannies and all that stuff. So it's just a simple car. Yeah, let's see here. Dave Faga, can you demonstrate how you hold the gimbal while riding on the bike? I think we did a video. Did we do a video for that? Or did I just show it? I think I showed it here. Yeah, oh, the gimbal's here. Okay, hold on. I got to put the camera in there. Where's the camera? I got to charge these things. I haven't charged it from the weekend. You're unlocked. It's right here. Let's see here. What's his name again? Dave Fega. That name, Fega, is a little different. Okay, there's a guy named Kevin, I think it's Feige, Feige. He's a producer of one of my favorite Marvel, the Marvel Universe movies and stuff. So it just seemed, that's what it seems familiar. So here's the gimbal. I think I did this on one of the sessions. I think I brought a bike in here. I just turned it on. It's important that you have a camera in here when you turn the gimbal on. Otherwise, it affects the calibration. And I just reset the calibration. There are 2 buttons on the side. I will get the demonstration in a little bit. The 2 buttons on the side where you hold them together. The last 2 buttons, you hold them together. You put this on a flat surface. And you release the 2 buttons, and the words calibration comes up. And the gimbal kind of resets. As you can see, I'm going to turn it off. This is what Paul and I do in our sleep. I'm going to turn it off by pushing the power button. You see that? It just tilted. There's no power. The gimbal's off. When the gimbal's off, the camera is limp. This is why it films the sky when it fails. Now, I'm going to turn it on. Let me do it this way. I'm going to turn it on. This is the power button. The first button. I'm going to turn it on. Push that. Watch the camera. Boom. Automatically levels the camera for you. Now, these motors, this is motor number 1, this box. That's the CPU. Right here is the motor, this round thing. The motor is in there. That's the first motor. This is the second motor. This one. This is the third motor. There are 3 motors that keep things stabilized. So what we do when we're riding is, this is in our hand like this. And all we do is we put it next to the brake hoods, like that. It's like holding 2 large pencils. So it just goes on the side of the brake lever. Where you see my thumb, it's going to go over the brake lever like this. So you can still use your finger under here if you're going from the big to the small. So we keep it on the left side where we're only shifting rarely big to small, small to big. Where at the right side, where we're doing a lot of shifting, we don't hold it here very often. I will only hold it here, if, like on Sunday when I was pulling, I do this, and then I do this. You see how it leans? That's what I was doing on Sunday like this. I was riding, and the hoods are right there, and I just lean it like that to get the guys in the back. That's what we do. Now, when it gets really cold, the cold affects these motors. They get cold. So what we found is that when we're holding a gimbal, regardless of which hand you hold, from time to time we'll hold it here too, like I'm trying to get a shot on this side. So what we do is, because the camera is on the left here, by holding it here, you're never directly behind the rider in front of you. I love why GoPro did that, because if the lens were right here, you would just be filming the rear of the rider in front of you. But because the lens is off to the side, when we put it on the bars, that's how come you can see around, because there's a wide angle setting on this thing. The setting of the GoPro camera matters, that you can, because of the setting I've chosen, you can see the words on our jerseys, you can read, you can see the street signs, everything. I'm using 2.7K high resolution. So yes, it uses a lot of battery power, but the view is better than 1080p. That's why you can see it look like movie theater. I use 24p, which is the speed that they use in Hollywood for the movies at the theater. They found that the human eye likes 24 frames per second. So we hold it like this. So the camera is on the left, and you can just see around the rider because it's a wide angle view. And then sometimes we'll tilt it like this, the body, and still hold it. So it's right. If this were the brake lever, the body is right in front of the brake lever. We try not to get any contact between this and the brake lever. Anything that touches this increases the load on the motor. So then it thinks that you're overloading it. And that's when it can just quit. And then all of a sudden it starts filming the sky because this goes limp. So when it's overloaded, it quits so the motor does not burn out. But we just hold it next to the brake lever and wrap our hand around. And the funny thing about it, people ask, don't you get tired? You don't, because it's almost like when you're holding it. I did it with the bike one day on a session here. I remember. I'm going to move back a little bit. When you're holding it, it's like it's resting. Gravity has it in my hand like this. And because my hand is not extended like this for 3 hours, my arm does not get tired. I am in the same position I would normally be in without this cradled in there on the bike. So all my hand is doing is resting on the hood. Just like it's resting on this chair. It just rests on the hood and it's filming. That's it. And then if we want to film the back, sometimes I'll do this like that with that hand tilted. I'll turn it around. The cool thing, the reason I like it not being fixed to the bike is that if I want to film the side of the road, so whatever we look at, if we're talking about something, we can move it there. It's in a mode called pan mode. So even though we're holding it like this, the camera is moving like this. The gimbal is moving the camera, just like the human eye. You never look straight. We're always panning. So they have that mode in there, and that's the mode we use because the camera is straight. The gimbal does this. The whole time we're riding, it's constantly panning the view. That's why the film is so interesting. And we just rest our hand on the hood, and gravity is just letting it rest inside our fingers. So there is no load. We don't get tired holding this. It just sits just like you see. This is how it is on the bike. We just sit. I hope you get a good view. I don't know if the lighting is very good here. Let me turn the light over here. Get a little more light on the subject here. I think this might help. Yeah, like that. I hope you can see that. So just how you see me wrapped around the arm, that's how we wrap around the brake hoods. And then when we need a shift, we just use our fingers for the big chainring or small chainring. But most of the shifting is done over here. So it's very easy. I hope that helps you. Let me turn this off. It's not a problem. We've gotten used to it. When your bike fits you, you can do all this kind of stuff. I mean, I can take off a jacket on the bike, fold it up, put it up, you know. So, yeah, I hope that helped. There we go. Hey, I'm glad Paul was able to join us because this is kind of later. Paul has a lot of stuff going on. This schedule seems to work better for me right now. I'm trying to get caught up here. Let's see. Richie Rich. Hello from Germany. Welcome, Richie Rich. Are you the real Richie Rich? All right. All right, Constance and MJ, knock it off. Too many chats. I hope they can hear me. Keep telling me hi. Noel Pagan. Hi, Eldred. Loved your recent rain route. I'll be getting mudguards. Yeah, go to our website. On the recommended products, I have them there. And the link that I use, the price is always updated. So as it goes down, you'll get the most recent price. I'm glad I found them. When we were growing up, we had these bikes from China. There were the cruisers with the flat handlebars. You guys know what I'm talking about. They just came with mudguards. So we rode our bikes in all kinds of weather. You know, I mean, I wasn't riding competitively or anything, just riding bikes. They were black regular bicycles that look like, you know, they're all black, just came black. And that's what was common. And they just came with mudguards. And they were permanent, they were complete. The ones we have right now, they stop at the brakes. Those had mudguards all the way. So the rain never stopped us, you know, from heading out. So with the fancier bikes, of course, they're not there now. When I was getting the kish done, the guy did ask me, do you want the eyelets to take mudguards? And I told him, you know, we're in Texas. It's dry most of the year. We don't get that much rain. And this is the thing that gets me, though. We get about 300 days of sunshine on average. Houston, Austin, whatever. So a couple of months of rain, you're going to stop riding because of that? I mean, come on. I mean, even if you don't have mud guards, so what if you get wet? That's why I made the comment about sugar cubes. My wife was standing here when I was doing the edits. They're my daughters. Stay over there. I don't want you guys on camera. You're not part of this show. I saw your text. You're texting too much. So don't do that. You're taking up, you're overcoming the conversation. You want to say hi? Oh, come on and say hi then. Say hi to the guys. Come on. You don't get on camera. 7 and 9. I was talking about you guys anyway. This is my girls. That's Melissa. She's named after her mother, and that's Constance. She's named after my mom. All right. Now get out of here. Bye. Go on. So anyway, but yeah, so we just wrote. So I just got tired of my bum being dirty and wet, especially when it's cold. And so when I saw those temporary mud guards, I was like, man, this is great. We didn't have those. I don't know if they were out there. When I competed, if they had them, I would have put them on my bike because I hated being wet in the rain. You know, and then I heard that the guys from the UK, when we started this channel, they would say that the clubs in the UK did not encourage you to show up at rides in the rain without mud guard. And I was like, man, that's smart because you get all that crap in your face when you follow others. Paul and I don't like to follow. So when it rains, we don't draft. We let the group go a distance. And if anything, they want to follow us because they don't want spray in their faces. Anyway, yeah, let's see here. Yeah, don't mind those guys. Paul, yeah, Paul says they were telling those guys, yeah, they need to. I figured the funny thing about them, there's a guy named Dan TDM. He's a gamer. He's got like 25 million followers. And I asked the 9-year-old, why do you watch this? All he does is play video games. And he's got 25 million people that sit there and watch him play video games. So I watched him one day, and then I saw why. This guy, I guess he was just created to do this. This guy gets video games from just everybody that makes video games, all the vendors. With no instruction whatsoever, he figures out the game real time. He'll just get in there and, oh, I think I need to do that. I don't know how he does it, but he doesn't need to read the instructions or anything. So people watch him so he can show them where all the hidden tricks are and how to, unlock certain levels and all. I mean, he just does it. And so all the people that make games send them to him. And so that's why people follow the gamers, because they do, like, some of the sessions are live, I'm sure. And my daughter watches it. And so I sat there and I watched, and the guy would just start a new game and just go to the highest levels. Has some game called Hello Neighbor, where the guy across the street, which is really kind of nosy, is going into the neighbor's house because he thinks the neighbor is a killer or a murderer because the neighbor is unusual. And he just goes in the guy's house and starts looking around. And then every time the neighbor catches him, he loses a life or something like that. And so I watched it a few times. I tell my daughter, well, you know, it's breaking and entering. She said, it's a video game, Dad. You're like, duh, you know, you're supposed to get it. I said, no, but it's kind of rude to just go in somebody's house because you think there might be a serial killer. Based on what? Because the guy doesn't hang out with you? So that's one of those things. Anyway, I'll get off of that one. All right, here we go. Noah Sanchez. I recently found you after I got a heart rate monitor and watched your video on training with a heart rate monitor. I remember that video. I love your rides, very informative. You're welcome. We have fun. What you see in the road, we're having a blast. I love riding my bike. Period. The people at my daughter's school, I think they're nuts because they have all these activities at 9 in the morning. This is an elementary school. 9 in the morning. That has something called a hold down where I didn't know these. Those of you who are Caucasian, I didn't know what a hold down was. You know, in Africa, we don't have a hold down. We have a dance. And here they have a hold down where you go and you do like Cotton Eye Joe and you have the funky cowboy. I got exposed to a dance called the funky cowboy last week. Didn't know what it was. That was Friday. So they have all these activities that I'd like to attend, but it's in the middle of the day. And so when I went, I'm like, don't you guys know that we have work? That most people have work to do. Why do you schedule this stuff in the middle of the day? The kids are going to school and then at 9:50 they have a hold down. It'd be nice to go to school and start dancing at 9:50. So what did they learn today? So the whole day, every class had these dances. I got 2 daughters, so I had to attend both of them. You know, well, I chose to attend both of them as a surprise because they invited me and I told them I don't know. But I ended up moving my schedule on Friday. So I went in there and I started to dance because some of the dances we used to do in the clubs, what they call line dancing, where, you know, you stomp the right foot and then you do this and you move back. And that's what I used to do. So I started to invite some of the parents, but they're acting like they're at a show. I don't care. So I joined the line. My 9-year-old says, you're embarrassing. I'm like, get out of here. I told her, how did you think you got here? I've been dancing before you were born. And all the teachers loved it. So I got in there, danced with her class, danced with the other one. Then the 7-year-old says, can you join us for lunch? It ended up being like from 10 in the morning till maybe 1 o'clock. I was at the school. So one of the teachers said, you should just come here to school. Because, you know, it's a small school. The teachers get to know you. But I had a blast. I'm glad. So I explained to my 7 and a 9-year-old, I said, there was another girl crying because dad couldn't make it. And there was a lady consoling her about their age. And my 9-year-old was looking over her. She was kind of sad. And I told her, I said, look, not everybody can make it. I said, dad's probably all the way across town. And he's probably working for somebody. And he doesn't set his own schedule. I said, so you need to understand that that's why mom is not here. She doesn't set her own schedule. And that's why I filmed you and I sent it to mom on the phone and this and that. So I try to explain to them so they can appreciate that. Don't take things for granted. Not everybody can be here at 10 o'clock in the morning. I explained to her, some of these people drop these kids off and they're heading an hour away to go to work so they can pay the taxes for your school. The school taxes are high. It's the highest tax we pay. I'm sure you guys know, you know, but then they're still begging for money. Paul and I talk about it all the time. I don't want to get out of a whole different can of worms. They're always sending you flyer opportunities. I don't need opportunity to spend money. I can come up with my own idea. Anyway, let's see here. John Pena, in your opinion, does what type of lube you use really matter for performance? They're all pretty good now. I don't really do it for performance. I do it for the, well, I guess it's kind of comes along. I do it for the longevity of the componentry and just trouble-free. So that's my first priority. You know, the life of the component, the chain life and all of that. Because I do have a tool that I use to check my chain stretch. And I replace them before they've exceeded the parameters, because you don't have to worry about replacing your cassette. If you let the chain stretch and then you continue to ride, it will wear your cogs. The cogs are expensive. You guys know that. Chain's less expensive. You can find a Shimano chain on special for like 20 bucks. So I keep one there because one of my bikes I use Shimano chain because it has a Shimano wheel. It still works with the Campy, but the wheel and the cassette is Shimano, so I use Shimano chain. And then I have the other 2 bikes, the Colnago and the blue bike. I use Campy chain on there because it's all Campy. The wheels on the Kish is Shimano. But no, you want to focus. I like the lube that will keep the chain clean. Dirt is your enemy. So I have that Pro Gold. That's what I use because it lubes and it cleans, and it's a dry lube. So when I ride in the rain, then I wipe the chain and I re-lube if necessary. I do have wet lube. Paul and I both have tried it. My issue is it gets black, and the chain I hate my chain looking dirty. So the wet lube works great in the rain. It's thicker, it's very thick. But then it just attracts all the dirt, and your chain. I hate my chain looking. I like my chain to look like it just came out of the box. That's just me. So I don't mind reapplying the dry lube after a rainy ride. It doesn't take any time, you know. And if you have a bike stand, just put the bike on and do it. You're ready to go. So no, do it more for the longevity, and performance will come along, because if your chain is properly lubed, it will work well, and it will work longer. And then it won't wear out your stuff. But make sure you get one of those things that you can check the stretch of the chain. It's made by Park Tool. I have it on the website on the recommended cycling products. I like that than for people saying, oh, every blah, blah, blah miles you should replace your chain. That's nonsense because it's going to vary depending on how much you ride, the kind of riding you do, and whether you're riding in a lot of dirty, dusty area, how often you maintain your chain. It will extend the life. So I get a lot of wear out of my chain, but I'm not guessing. They have one side that says 0.5 on the tool. I don't have the tool here. And there's another, it's just called a chain checker tool by Park Tools, flat. And it has one that has a 0.7. 0.5 means time to order a chain so you have it on standby. 0.75 means get the chain off the bike. It's served its life. And as long as you stay with that, you will never wear out your rear cog. What ends up happening is we all have gears that we ride more than others. So let's say, depending on where you live, it might be the 17 in the rear or the 19 or whatever. And what will happen when you let the chain go too long, that cog that you use the most in the back will be the one that will start skipping when you put the new chain on if you let the other one go too far. And then buying one cog for a cassette, it's not cost effective because these guys charge too much for that one cog. One cog might be $40. Believe it or not, it's ridiculous. Because I have some old cassettes that because I can mix and match. I can create my own stuff within reason. They have certain parameters. But you try to buy single cogs, it's not cost effective. You're better off going on eBay, winning a nice auction, and taking that one apart to find the cog you want. But then you got to be careful because depending on the placement of the cog for that range, whether it's a 1225 versus an 1128, you can't just take them and mix and match. They're designed for a specific spot. Okay, so that's the best way I can explain. I hope that helps you. All right, Crux 44, interesting name. Mud guards are mandatory for the winter months for group rides here in Victoria, Canada. Lots of rain. I don't care if they're mandatory or not. They're mandatory for me. They just make sense. We rode in the rain. I cover my shoes. I always cover my shoe, even if it's just damp and it's not raining. Reason is the debris from the road is a lot easier to clean off of a shoe cover than your shoes. Your cycling shoes have not one surface. They got little knitted areas. You know what I mean? To let in air. It's those little knitted areas that get the dirt kind of grounded. It's hard to, you need a toothbrush to scrub that out. So why bother with that? Just cover your shoes with some light shoe cover. You can even use an Aero shoe cover on a damp day, especially when it's the warmer months, to just make it easier for you to just clean the shoe cover versus your shoe. So anytime it's wet, I cover my shoe. I don't care what time of the year it is. That's the reason when I bought the Asos shoe cover, I was excited because it stated that as the weather got warmer, the shoe cover was more breathable because of the membrane they use. Because I cover my shoes as soon as it's wet. Then when I get home, I just take a rag and wipe the shoe cover before I remove it from my shoe and put it up. And it's a lot easier than trying to clean your shoes. I don't like my shoes to be filthy. I don't care if it's black. I don't like it filthy. So it just makes it easier. I just try easier ways to do stuff. I don't have a whole lot of time. So I have to manage my time. John Pena, in your opinion, does what type of... Oh, I already answered that. Elder, did you try the GP 4000 tires on the blue bike? That's what's on there. I wonder why you asked that. I must have, maybe I mentioned that. That's what's on there. Yeah, I must have mentioned, I've written that and it works great. I mean, you know, it's on there. In fact, I'm testing air pressure, tire pressure, like I didn't have enough to do. Paulie Longer and I repaired a flat on Saturday. Saturday, when we got to that parking lot, I immediately had like a rear tire that just started going down softly. It was a slow leak. So we stopped and we found a small piece of glass, really sharp, that had wedged its way in there. We fixed the tire. We aired it up with the little pump. In fact, I pumped it till my arms were tired. Then Paul took over. And he just, so whatever pressure he put in there, it ended up being like 87, 88 PSI when I got home. Because I told him on the ride that I loved the way the tire felt. It's the same Grand Prix Continental Classic tires that's always been on there. So usually when it rains, I will do 85, 90. So I had left 90, 95 in there because it wasn't raining the prior days. So we roll out with that. When we put as much as we could in there, it felt so good, and that I knew the pressure was lower than 95. So since he did that, I tested 90 on the rear, and then I tested 85. And right now I'm liking 88. So I went out today and I put 88 on the rear and 85 in the front. You know, I'm splitting hairs. So I'll probably be doing like I do when it's wet, do 85 and 90 on the rear. It just was so supple. Just all the bumps. It was just taking them so well. And I was like, so I'm just playing in that range. So, you know, I usually do 90 in the front, 95 in the rear. And then when it's damp, I'll do 85, 90. So I think I may just start doing 85, 90 and just seeing how I like it. So tomorrow morning, I have a ride schedule. I will do 85, 90 and see how that works. You know, just for, even though it's not supposed to rain, I don't care. I left the mud guards on the bike. I'm just going to be ready for anything until the weather. This time of year, we get the rains, you know, spring's coming and fronts from Canada, other places come in. And it's just, you know, it brings rain each time. When the cold weather comes in, we get rain. When the heat comes back, we get rain, you know, until one of them settles in. So that's why we're getting all this rain. They're fighting each other. So, yeah, I love it. You know, and I like those tires. They're okay. You know, they're fine. The GP 4000, they work really well with latex tubes. So if you have latex tubes and you pair them with that, they're very supple. That's how I used them on the Kish bike, was with latex tubes. But my everyday riding bike, I don't like to use latex tubes because they don't hold the air. You got to air them up every day. So I use the regular Beetle tubes, the black ones, and just air it up because I air the tires every 3 days. I let it go 3 days and then I'll do it again. That's about what seems to work, you know. But you know, you can ride. You don't need high pressure on these tires. People are just stressing their body out with those high. It's not very comfortable. You don't need that. All right, let's see here. Jamie K695. Is the pad in the Rafa flyweight bibs the same as the Pro Team 2s? No. They're lighter. And they actually specifically said that the pads in the flyweight are size dependent, meaning I wear an extra large. My pad size is going to be different. If you wore a medium, you will have a different pad size. If you wore a large, yeah, Rafa changed that. The lightweight is like a pared down version of the twos or whatever. You know, from my experience riding in hot weather, the twos are fine. I don't think that you necessarily have to have the lightweight. It's just that they were on sale, and those suckers never put those things on sale. That's why we jumped all over it. You know, it's hard to get a black and black Rafa anything on sale. And I don't like the Rafa logo in white on that black. It's like you're telling the whole world I'm riding Rafa. I don't like that. I know I'm riding Rafa. That's good enough. I don't need everybody to know. That's why I like these, where you can, you know, this is, but they're getting better to where they're blending. It's not even blended out. I like the one, like the black I wore on Sunday. If you didn't know Rafa, you couldn't tell because they made it to where it was like a stealth. The lettering matched the fabric. I like that. I don't like it too loud. I don't need everybody to know. It's not necessary. But yeah, so that's why we got them. So no, they're different. They're very light, you know, but the bibs too will work in hot weather too. That's what I use. Actually, I prefer the bibs too because it's got 2 radio pockets. The lightweight one, the flyweight, has only 1 radio pocket. I use those radio pockets to carry my phone and an extra tube. I can save my pockets. I like them up there. So yeah, so let's see here. Jeffrey Davis said, gotta love the South. Crooks 44, I can't ride anything lower than 95 to 100 in my tire. I really feel the softness. I prefer the bike to feel snappy all the time. 25 millimeter at 110 for perfect days. What are perfect days? Every day is a perfect day, man. What do you mean perfect days? You talk about fair weather. I don't know when the fair, you know, it's not about you, Crooks. It's just in general. Even the people on the Weather Channel, all the places that will say bad weather whenever we talk about rain, that really bugs me. What is bad about rain? We wouldn't be alive if we had no rain, you know? So they got to change that. You know, I got my daughters, I tell them all the time, It's just difficult weather. It's not bad. You know, it's nothing bad about rain. We need that water, you know. And so yeah, but yeah. I used to ride the higher pressures. I don't exceed 100. I do 90 in front, 95, and I ride 25s, 28s, and I do the same. I even put the same in the 23. Focus more on what they recommend as opposed to maximum. Don't ever feel like you got to put maximum pressure in the tire. I don't even know why they stamp the maximum on there. I don't want to ride at the maximum of anything, because then that's where things break. You watch the guys in NASCAR, they're maximizing what cars normally do. That's why when their stuff breaks, you know, they're on the track and you just see oil gushing, or they spin around because something, you know, things break when you get near the max. But I noticed on the tires, they always have maximum, and sometimes people can mix that up. You want to look for the recommended, but then who's recommending it? Yeah, just because they manufactured the tire doesn't mean that their recommended pressure is what you're going to like. It's okay that they have a recommended pressure. Find what you like. So if 110 is what you like, that's great. Then you use that. You know, I like that thing. I like when I go over expansion cracks. I don't even want to know I went over one. I want to feel the suppleness of the casing. And it's going to vary from brand to brand on, you know, which pressure will work. But what I have found is that you rarely need to exceed 100 unless you're on some perfect course, smooth asphalt. Yeah, well, you're not going to bounce around. So yeah. All right. 28. Yeah. With the 28, you can go lower. I don't even put 100 in there. We used to do 105, whatever. We've just been playing with it. And 90, 95 just, especially with the Rubino Pro tires that we have for training, they just work. 90, 95. When it gets wet, I drop it 5 PSI when it's wet. It's been raining like every day here. And like, I guess my wife's condition, everybody frowns when it rains. I don't. I don't see why it's a big deal. People don't like the rain. I don't understand that. You know, I'm just saying people in general here, especially in Houston where it's dry in the summer and we're praying for rain because they jack up the water rates because everybody wants their grass to be green in the summer. And if you don't, if your yard is not established, so you got a new yard, your grass can die and you literally got to resod. But if your yard is established, it's not an issue. But still, in the summer, you got to make sure your grass is high enough so that the roots don't dry out. And most of the people that pay other people to cut their yard, they cut the yard too low. I cut my yard as high as possible so that the grass has enough coverage because it gets hot here in the summer. It's not my favorite time of year down here. So we go out early, but by the time we're done riding in the middle of the day, I don't go anywhere. My summer here is like my winter for you guys in Canada and New York. I hibernate in the summer. Between 2 p.m. and 5 o'clock, you won't see me outside. Our window, it's just hot. So we get out, we go out early. We change the ride time. They would start like 30 minutes earlier. They change those guys, you know, Team RR, they'll start at 7. Some people leave early, 5:30 in the morning, because the day is now, they've moved the time ahead in the spring. And so the daylight comes out early. So some people leave 5:30 in the morning, head out. They don't want to deal with the heat. They'll do a long ride and done by 10:30. You know, so yeah, we have to adapt. Our summer is when we hibernate here in South Texas. It's just too hot to be. Even the dogs, you open the door to go for a walk, they look at you like, forget you. There we go. Crook said, perfect weather any day on the bike is a good day, but the sun is better than rain. I don't know about that. I love the rain. The rain, what I'm finding is that the roads are less crowded when it's raining. People don't want to be out. I see a lot of pizza delivery guys when it's raining because everybody's ordering pizza. I do. I think, I don't know if I filmed one of them today when I was doing the thing for the perfect day. Let's see here. Okay. Crooks must be young. Each day you're upright's a great day. He says he's almost 40. You're a young man, man. 40, shoot. That's nothing. Back in the day, you know, that was an issue, but now people live a lot longer. That's good, man. It's good to have you here. That's good to have you here. You're as old as you feel. It's just a number. Yeah, I mean, it's like the way I look at it is every day you're healthy, treated like it's all you have. because you have moments in life. It's a journey. And all you have are these moments that add up, so make the most of it. You're up and around today. Okay, so you have to look at your day and say, man, if this was the last day I had, what would I do today? Think about it. You have your loved ones, the people you care about. You at least need to say hi, give your wife a hug on the way when she's leaving, whatever, because you never really know. And so I try to do that. I try to make sure that every parting of my wife and I is on a good note. She's going to work. I make sure she has her lunch, give her a hug, and then she goes. And then when she comes home in the evening, even if I'm busy, I at least say hi, because my wife's very emotional. She'll make a comment like, well, excuse me, like if she comes home and I don't acknowledge that she's home. Well, excuse me. My wife will call me from work and says, I'm on the way home. And I'm like, when you get here, I'll know. But that's just what she does. It doesn't matter how many times I say that. That's what she'll either text me or call me to say she's on the way home. And it took me a long time to get acclimated to that, because it just, for me, it was like, what's the point? When you get here, I'd know. But that's who she is. That's what she likes to do. And, Paul and I joke about it all the time. Just the thing from the way guys think. It's like, my logic is, why do you need to tell me you're on the way home? When you get here, and then sometimes she'll say, I'm on the way home, and it's 30 minutes, maybe 20 to 30 minutes from the house. And 2 hours later, she's home. I'm like, oh, I had to stop over there. And I said, but then you weren't on the way home. But those are the kind of things, it's like you have to learn to deal with who you're with and appreciate all the little things. But my wife compliments me very well. I don't stress out over how much time I spend on the bike and all that kind of stuff. But I do try to balance to make sure that I spend time with my girls, because they like to hang out. Sometimes we'll just hang out. We'll just lay back, watch those crazy shows like Bonked. They have a show called Bonked on Disney. And the theme song says Camp Kikiwaka. And they're at a camp called Camp Kikiwaka. So I asked them, I tried to challenge them, why didn't they call the show Camp Kikiwaka? And then the 7 and the 9-year-old proceed to explain to me that they sleep in bunks. And the bunks are separated by, I guess, groups or teams. And that's why the show is called Bunk. I said, yeah, but nothing in the whole theme song or throughout the episode focuses on bunks. It focuses on this Kikiwaka monster that's supposed to be out there at this camp. I said, so the show should be called Camp Kikiwaka. And, so when I went to the school for the hold down, I'm sitting having lunch with them and their friends. I brought it up because they started talking about programs they all watch. And my 9-year-old does this. So she says I was embarrassing her. The funny thing about it is all her friends were like, nice talking to you, when they were done eating. So all her friends thinks that her dad is cool. She thinks I'm embarrassing her. I told her, I said, get over it. I just like to mess with them. So I like to find out what they're into. But they watch some weird programs, some show called Bizarre Vark. It's really weird. And then the name, I guess, said Bizarre Vark. That's supposed to mean it's supposed to. So what is the plot? It's just crazy. So there's no point to this show, But they like it to sit there, So when I sit with them, I get to pick what we watch from among all their shows. And I like Phineas and Ferb. They don't. And, it's on a different channel. And I like Phineas and Ferb because their engineers are always building stuff. They don't think that's cool, But then because they want to hang with me, they'll watch Phineas and Ferb. So, that's the way I relate to them. Anyway, let's come back to this cycling thing here. Let's see here. David Hefferman, is there a cycling insole you recommend for high arches? Not particularly, David, because when I had to build one, I have a flat, what they call flat feet. So when I wore CDs, I had to get custom ones done. It's hard to, unless you're going to get fitted to it, don't buy it from a distance or buy it online. You end up, they're not very inexpensive. So it's better to have one made for you, but you need to specify if you're going to go to a podiatrist or whoever to make it. You need to specify that you need to be thin because it's going to go into cycling shoes. You don't need it bulky. But caveat to that is the manufacturer Giro, they send different size arches for their shoes. So I don't know what model you have in that you have to get an insole. You might want to look into maybe a brand of shoe, because if you have high arches, then you're like a CD kind of guy, because CD comes out of the gate to accommodate high arches. So unless yours is higher than that, then you may want to consider getting something custom, because then you can carry it from shoe to shoe. But I don't know anything remote. I mean, that's just commercially available out there. I think it's better to have it done for you. They make a mold of your foot and they get it done. And they're pricey. It's like buying a shoe, because you're paying a middleman and all that. So Fake Star 45, good morning, Master Legend from Singapore. Welcome. The other side of the world. Rodolfo Ramirez, thanks to your recommendation about having the right gear for the temperature, I'm able to ride on 4C. Yeah, that's low. Even police asked me once that how can I ride in that cold weather? Yeah, we had a guy ask us at the place. I didn't film it, but some guy just driving his truck at Taco Corner. He said, your stuff is not thick. How can you, And then I had him feel it and I showed him. They don't see your base layer. They don't see how many base layers. That's why I do the prologue, so you guys can see what I'm dealing with. I'm not harder than anybody else out there. I have a lot of respect for the weather. When it comes to the weather, I'm a big chicken. That's why I wear the right stuff. The stuff I wear is warm. That's why I go outside and I check. I am not trying to prove how tough I am. Doesn't make you tough to be cold. So no. Yeah, somebody said, oh, you're a hard man. This is what I explained. It was on the channel. I explained to him, no, I'm not. That Belgian cap is warm. Yeah. We dress warmer than the people we ride with. They're a lot colder. That's why some of them turn around. They don't wear, like the guys at Team RR, very few of them wear shoe covers. And it's cold. If it's below 50, I cover my feet. And the reason is, if you're comfortable everywhere else, then all your body has to do is give you energy to ride. But if you're cold, your body has to take energy to keep you at 98.6 thereabouts. So what's the point? That's why we're always making sure, okay, do I need this hat or don't I? We talk about it, like Paul and I. We'll talk on the phone. Man, it's gonna be in fact, when now we don't do it anymore, because early on I would send him a text in the morning and say, man, it's cold. You're gonna need blah blah blah. And he'll say, yeah, this and that. But now, he's gotten it down, because you never master it. You're still going to mess up. You're still going to think you got it right. And then one day the weather fakes you out or whatever. And then you learn from it. So I've learned for me, because we're all different. We regulate heat differently, every human being. I have learned for me, if it's 10C, which is 50 degrees or less, I need 3 layers. Now, it's going to vary as far as thickness. If it's going to stay in that range, I can wear the long thermal underwear from this manufacturer, Rafa. Now, that's going to be different if I bought something from Castelli. That's different. So every time you get a different brand, you have to go learn how it's going to work for your body in those ranges. That's why you never master it. And that's why you must always work at it. So there are times when I'll put on a base layer, the thermal stuff, then a jersey, and I go out and I'm hot. And then I learn, I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe I'm not going to wear the long sleeve when it's above 50 degrees Fahrenheit or 10 Celsius. Above 50 degrees Fahrenheit, I just wear a regular base layer and a long sleeve jersey, or arm warmers and a warm jersey. This time of year, I don't wear any summer jersey. Believe it or not, the people we ride with are still wearing summer jerseys. And that's why they're cold. You can't wear the same jersey you wear in the summer in the winter. It doesn't have the weight of the material that you need. So they're different. That's why I explained that. Those of you who are here, I moved the warmer jersey, the wool and the mid-weight and whatever. And I had to learn all of this. When I raced, there was no mid-weight or anything. We just had long sleeve and short sleeve jerseys. And we did the best we could. But we were cold. When it was very cold, it wasn't a whole lot of fun. And so I'm really thrilled that now we have a company like Rafa that gives you all this detail about, well, we think this will work in cool to mild. Some of that stuff crosses over to where it's like splitting hairs. It's confusing. They're lightweight, mid-weight, training jersey. I just treat all of those as 10C or higher, 10C to 20C. That's good. And that's the way I put them in my closet. I have the very cold stuff in front, then the next one, and then the summer stuff is out of the way in the back because they're out of season right now. That's the way I do it. It makes it easy for me. So whenever I get a piece of their garment, I know what temperature range is going to go in. And all you can do with the mid-weight stuff is just decide what kind of base layer you're going to wear. Like this Saturday, because it started out at 21 Celsius, which is like 70, thereabout, 70 Fahrenheit. I did not put on a base layer because I knew I would have the gilet, and it was perfect. Had I worn a base layer, I would have been hot, and I would have had to keep that gilet open. I didn't want to have to take it out and fold it. So it's a constant evaluation, because I'm going to throw this in for fun. You can have 70 degrees like Saturday, which is, let's see, what is that? 20 Celsius or 21 Celsius. And if the wind's blowing from the south around here, it may feel like 25 Celsius, which is close to 80 Fahrenheit. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about. If it's blowing from the south, it's muggy, you have to dress appropriately. But we knew there was a front coming in with the rain or whatever. I knew that going up there was going to be cooler. That's why I took the gilet. If it's warmer in the summer, where our days rarely go below 70 at night, I will not be using the gilet. We'll go to the back, and unless it's going to rain, and if it is, it will only be on for the rain. And when the rain stops, I'm going to fold it up because it'll be hot. So you have to look at the air temperature, the direction of where the wind's coming from. Is it muggy? Does it feel cold? All of that factors. And that's why Saturday I wore a thermal pair of shorts, even though that's all I had on with nothing on my knees to cover. I didn't need to cover my knees because it was so warm. But it's a balance. You have to work at it. You never master it. Same thing with cycling. You never master cycling because you get out there and the conditions change. Even on the same course, it can kick your butt. That's why I'm glad we have the derailleur. Shift that bad boy down. All right, let's go on. Let's see here what we have. Alex Moore says, I love your channel. Thanks to you, my wife thinks I'm smart. Not because of me. I think you are smart. You've educated yourself. You're just giving yourself more information. What's your take on crank length? That's my wife. This is what I was talking about, guys. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, the camera doesn't. She says she's on the way home. She says on my way home. And I gave up trying to talk her out of it. That's just what she does. So I just say okay to keep the peace. That's what she does. When I go out and I'm on the way home, I don't tell her I'm on the way home. When I show up, she'll know I'm here. So anyway, let's see. Crank, yeah. Have you ever suggested to one of your customers they need a different crank length? Yeah, but only in cases where they've really exceeded it, because it's splitting hair. Most of the bikes come with 172.5. And most people that are of average height, let's say maybe 5'4" to about 6 foot or so, can ride 170. I could ride 172.5. I found that I prefer 175. And all it is within 2.5 millimeters of each other. Let's say as the centimeters, 2.5. The difference is 172.5 to 175, 2.5 mils. It's not that much. Okay, so it's so small that really that's where the slight adjustments from the formula when you're fitting people comes in. So the first thing I do is set somebody and I look at their crank. The guy that came today is about my height. He had 175. They just came with the bike. So there was nothing to discuss. If somebody shows up with 180 and they're not very tall, I'm going to ask, why? Because 180 is not put on there. Most of the bikes are coming with 172.5. Now, bikes for women, some people will get 165 or something like that special if they're having a preferred choice or a need. But for the most part, your body gets used to it. Okay, because that's why most of them, they just do 172.5. They kind of split the difference on there. Crank's very expensive. I don't ever recommend someone changes it unless they're having a problem or the crank is either too short for them or too long. But that's rare because when you buy the size, now unless you're sourcing your own components and you don't know you ordered the wrong crank length. But most of the bikes, they already know biomechanically. This size bike, we're going to put 172.5. As it gets bigger, we're going to put 175, the full bikes. So for the most part, I can ride 172.5 or the 175s that I ride. The 172.5s, people claim that you can spin them faster. I have no problem spinning the 175 because my body has adapted. The body will adapt. So don't stress too much over it unless you're having a problem. So no, I don't usually recommend that. Most of the bikes come with it. And if I'm building someone's bike based on their leg length, I know what crank arm to get for them. Mateo says he's in Brazil. We're going to be wrapping up soon. I'm going to move through these. Robert Tengler, what's your water intake away from the bike rides? Too much. There's a cup right there. Yeah, I drink throughout the day. I have the cup here, and I have this. It's insulated. I keep water in that in my office. I drink all day long. I keep enough fluids because it helps your recovery. Not just for cycling, any kind of exercise you're doing. You want to make sure your urine is clear. If your urine is yellow or whatever, you're behind. Drink some more water, okay? And you doesn't have to be just water. Drink some orange juice, whatever. Just get some fluids in there because it's good for your kidney anyway. You don't need your urine to be really dark. It should be clear. That's the goal. Light yellow is okay, but that means you're a little behind. I try to keep mine clear. And the only problem with that, you got to get up during the night sometime. And what I do is I don't like to turn on the light because sometimes it's hard for me to go back to sleep. So I know the house. So when I get up in the night, I don't turn on the light. I just go to, because when you turn on the light, it's like it wakes you up. That's the only thing. But I make sure I use the restroom before I go to bed. That way then I don't have to get up. But I drink throughout the day. But I always drink a glass of wine before bed with dinner. I always do that just out of habit. You know, red. I like red. And we just get them from HEB, the local grocery store. Nothing fancy. Just, you know, I get some dry. I get some of the sweet reds. You know, just something is nice that just, you know, drink. Anyway. Let's see here. Mateus, Brazil. Hey, Bill. Bill's one of our super legends. Bill McAllis. Not much, Bill. From Southern California. Yeah, I remember you. One of our patrons. Jeffrey said, I followed your advice Monday, dressed out, went outside, made adjustment, layered in a way I could peel kit away. Yeah, the biggest thing with going outside, Jeffrey, is that you can't replicate the wind. And just dress to where, initially on the bike, you should feel a little cool, but then maybe the first few minutes, and then you should feel fine. If you're warm immediately, when you step outside, just walking, if you're warm, you dress too warm. Peel off something. Because you should feel a little chill, but not uncomfortable when you walk outside. That's the key. The biggest thing to focus on is make sure you got headgear. Even if you have hair, hair is overrated. The human body does not have the oils that the animals have to block the pores. So even with hair, you're losing a lot through here. So when it's cold, cover your head. Even if you just put on a cotton cap. Because that little cap can change your ride tremendously, or the right pair of gloves or shoe covers. Those are the areas I really focus on because my torso warms up. So sometimes I be uncomfortable and just pull off maybe a cap or pull my jersey out of the glove. It just makes like enough of an adjustment to where you're like, oh, okay, I don't feel so bad. Or I push the hat up over my ear. Those little changes. So the head, your hands, and your feet, primary. Don't mess with those because we don't have much insulation down here. You know, and as you ride more, your skin just thins out. You don't have much. Okay, so let's see. Jeffrey said, yeah, she used to call, and I started sending her the voicemail, so she texts me. She'll call every now and then. They do what they want to do. You can't change them, and you just have to love them the way they are. You know. I don't want to change her. I just wondered why she did that. She doesn't care that I don't do it, but that's just what she does. I think that just like she likes to do that. That's just something to do. I'm on my way home. I'm like, oh, okay. I just reply, okay. And then I have this thing like a Bitmoji with my face on it. I got to show you guys this. This session is running on, but I'm having fun. I don't care. Let's see here. Close. We're going to finish up in a little bit. I have a Bitmoji that I made in my image. Paul has one also. I hope it will show on the camera. The camera is not very good at replicating the phone. I'm going to use her stuff. It's a software. It's a software that makes an image, like when you're sending a message. Man, yeah, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna hold it like this. I'm trying to see how well it shows. You click the globe. You know how you got all the emojis? There's a software called Bitmoji that somebody sells, and I got it from my wife. She found it. I'm gonna pull it up. You can pull up like good morning. You pull up different themes. Like this one says, let's see, it hasn't brought anything. Usually it shows me in the picture. Don't tell me it's gonna mess up now. Oh, there we go. Good morning. There we go. It's showing up. Let me see. Yeah, only one. There was a bunch of stuff there. There we go. So basically, the image is yourself. I designed myself, a black guy, shaved head, goatee. It actually looks like me. And so my wife had done it, and it looked like her. And I said, that's really cute. Then she told me about the software. And there it is. You can see those 3 images that show up. You pick a subject, like you say, good morning, and then it has pictures of you holding pancakes or, you know, top of the morning to you. There, they're showing up now. So you pick a subject, whatever you want to say to the person. I'm trying to see if I can get it closer to the camera. There we go. It's my work. You can see I've got like a face with horns on there. But it looks like me. And Paulie Lunga has one, has the software too. There it is. It's showing better. There. So you can see those are different things. Oops. Come on, wake up. There we go. Let me pick another one. I don't know why it's taking so long to show up. There must be something with the LTE. There we go. So that's another theme. I'm laying around, jumping around. Let me see if I can find one that really shows better. There we go. I think this must be good morning. Yeah, it's good morning. So I'm going to bring it over, trying to get this camera to. You can see it's like I've got shaving cream on one scene there. And all I'm saying, good morning, hello, and different things on there. And you go ahead and you pick whichever one you want to use. As you scroll up, you get more. There you go. There's more shows up. And basically, it uses that character in every different theme you come up with. Like you want to say good night or whatever, good morning. And it's really cool because when you send it, your face is on there. Like this one here. Let's see. I wish there was a, yeah, there we go. You can see me down there with my eyes all bugged out. I sent that to my sister and she said, wow, that looks like you. And Paulie Lunga's stuff looks exactly like him. His kids designed it. It's called Bitmoji. If you just type it on Google, free software. It works in your phone in the text messages. And you just tap to get to it, you can load the app, but I don't use the app. The app is within the text. And to get to it, all you do is you tap the button for the globe that gives you the emojis, and you tap it twice, and it will get you into the Bitmoji software. And that's the way it works. So let's see here. All right. You're welcome, Alex. Bartek Zinar, can you pick one number between 0 and 36, including 0 and 36? What's the point of that? What's the exercise? Christina Colon, I'm a newbie to the cycling world. Do you recommend me to purchase a new bike if the current one is too heavy and slow? Well, who said it's heavy and slow, Christina? I don't know what kind of bike you have. Don't buy anything unless you're sure. I don't believe in spending money you don't have to spend. I mean, you know, it depends on what does the bike weigh or what kind of bike it is and what kind of riding you're going to do. You know, that's, I don't know all of that. So before you buy, make sure that that bike cannot be upgraded, you know. And so that's not something I can answer here. I would need more information. You could maybe send me, you can go to the website, veloharmony.com, go to the about and contact us and send me more information. Maybe send me a picture of the bike or something and we can look into that. But don't buy stuff unless you're very sure. When you say the bike is heavy and slow, I would err on the side. I would say I'm heavy and slow before I said the bike was heavy and slow. Because a heavy and slow bike, you can still get in shape. Now, if you're saying that I want to start competing or I want to do grand fondos and I want a more responsive bike than what I have. So I'd want to know what you have before I say, yeah, I recommend you buy something. Because what you have may be okay. Mo Bananga, you for your cycling clothes on. I'm not sure what that means. What's your favorite make of bike and why? William Jones. It's hard to say. I think I said Cervelo because of the angles that they produce, their measurements and stuff. They're kind of common, but if it were a carbon bike, I'd probably pick Cervelo. But as far as I love my Kish, and that's a custom bike, so it's kind of hard to pick that because that's not off the shelf. But generally, I'm more a fan of the classic kind of bikes more so than the carbon bikes that are prevalent today. I like the metal bikes, you know. They're just, you know, so titanium is one of my favorite, and also steel. But it's hard to pick a brand per se in that one because so many of them are so good. This is hard to pick. But for a carbon, I would probably err on the side of Cervelo because of the geometry, you know. So Rochelle, let's see. Heavy bike plus hills. Yeah, Christina, yeah, send that. You know, before you spend money, be sure you need to. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up. Great session. I really appreciate everybody that came out. It was great. I had fun today. It was great to have this. Yeah, so William Jones, you can get a Jaguar carbon bike worth $12,000. That's a lot of money for a bicycle. I just bought my daughter a $14,000 Mini Cooper. It has an engine. You know, so I don't know. Depends on how big your wallet is and what you want, you know. But you don't need to spend a lot on bicycles. There are a lot of good bikes out there that are priced reasonably, so where everybody can enter the sport. So you guys have fun. Take care. Until the next session, I appreciate all you super legends, all you that support the channel. It means a lot to us. So we can keep doing what we're doing. Be cool. Be safe out on the roads.